Hey guys, Lytane here, and all of my episodes on video games have been on pretty slow games. Oddworld, slow. Resident Evil, slow. Digimon Digital Card Battle, slow. I need something that can run at the speed of sound. Sonic the Hedgehog, the mascot of Sega in his very first video game on the Sega Mega Drive. Genesis if you're in America. And let's find out if it's worth it. Sonic came out quite a long time ago in 1991. Sega needed a brand new mascot that was edgy and cool, that could compete with Nintendo and its mascot, Mario. They already had a mascot called Alex Kidd for the Sega Master System, but they knew he couldn't hold up against Nintendo, so they started the design on Sonic. That wasn't the only thing that Sega did to help stand out as a gaming company. They actively made Sonic fast and the levels bigger and more open than Mario to have a severe contrast with him. This started the original video game war between Sega and Nintendo, with many infamous ads and slogans like "Genesis does what Nintendon't," and even made up new terms like blast processing, even though it never existed. They were successful with their attempts because Sonic was an instant hit and had critical and commercial acclaim, and brought about a healthy competition between the companies, which, for the customer, ensured that both were performing at their best to get your money. The best part about this is that the Mega Drive came out when the NES was around, and it was better in tech, but when Nintendo released the Super Nintendo, it outclassed the Mega Drive in almost every way. This meant that Sega had to work harder to sell an inferior product to people, but damn did they do it well. But enough of a history lesson, let's dive into the game. There are no cutscenes in this game, so the story comes from the manual. Yes, they were a thing. Sonic is a blue hedgehog that loves running and going on adventures. One of these leads him to South Island, where he finds that the evil Dr. Ivan Robotnik has captured all of the animals on the island and has enslaved them and put them into his robot suits. These are called badniks, and Sonic must run through each level, jumping on them to destroy the robot and save the animal inside. The other noteworthy thing going on this island is that there are Chaos Emeralds, powerful crystals that when gathered can do amazing things, and Robotnik wants them all to himself in order to rule the world! Or something like that. It's now up to Sonic to save his friends, collect the Chaos Emeralds, find and then put a stop to the evil Dr. Robotnik in order to save the world. Can he do it? Only if you're a good player. The gameplay in this game is very simple, much like other games of this era. Sonic has a few simple moves. He can walk, and if you hold down the directional button long enough, it turns into a run. He can jump, and he can also bounce off enemies whilst he is jumping. And if you press down while he is running, he rolls. This isn't terribly useful in this game, but it does get him through some tight spots, and it can help killing some of the bad guys. It isn't until Sonic 2 that he finally gets a dedicated roll button. With only one button, this game is very easy to pick up by the majority of people. The unique thing about this game, as stated earlier, is its speed. When you finally start running, the stages fly by, and all the secret passageways, all the loops, and all the branching paths make this a little bit confusing, but that also adds to part of the fun. This game used to be faster in its prototype, but people were getting motion sickness just by playing through this game, so they had to turn it back. To be honest, people still got motion sick, but it wasn't quite as severe. But still, the feeling of flying through the stage and completing it as fast as you can is so much fun. This game is no walk in the park either. Due to its fast nature, enemies can often pop up in front of you and kill you, or you jump to your death without even thinking. To make it a bit easier, Sonic collects rings which act as points. Collect enough and they are an extra life. They can also let you gain access to bonus stages, but the biggest and most important thing that they do is they act as your health. If you get hit by anything, then you lose all of your rings. So long as you collect at least one ring, you can get hit again. Because the rings fly out around you, you have a chance to regain a hit. And like I said, so long as you have just one ring, you will be alright. There are plenty of traps, enemies, and hazards along the way, from walking and flying enemies, spikes and water. And oh boy! Water is the absolute worst part of this game. The game slows to an absolute crawl when you reach it because Sonic can't swim. He can run at the speed of sound, but he sinks like a stone. He also has to hold his breath, unlike Mario, who is like gills or something. So if you're down underneath the water for too long, he will drown. And when you start hearing this countdown, your heart can't help but race as you frantically look for some bubbles, and then it gets so intense waiting for a bubble to spawn. Phew. There are 7 zones in this game, with most of them comprising of 3 acts. The first two are normal levels, and the third is usually a little shorter because at the end, there is a boss fight against Dr. Robotnik. Each zone has its own style and music, and most are pretty memorable. My favourite being the very first, Green Hill Zone. Now, I have said time and again how fast this game is, and how they even invented a new term to describe it with blast processing, but let's get real here. Come close. Closer. Closer. I say closer. It isn't that fast. Oh, come on. At least let me explain. This game starts off fast. The very first zone, Green Hill, is great. It is so open and it is fast and it lives up to everything that Sega promised, but after that, it slows down. And I'm not talking about the frame rate like you young people think. No, I'm talking about the actual gameplay. They introduce platforms that you have to wait on, they introduce so many more traps and hazards so you can't just run through the level. You have to start taking elevators and stuff like that. The game becomes a lot more linear and it just slows down. So you can no longer just run and let the wind through your spikes. No, you have to wait. That is not what I signed up for. My other major gripe in this game are the bonus levels. They are just plain shit. Crap, waste of time, don't even bother with them. They put you in this strange area where you have to navigate the maze in order to find the Chaos Emerald. If you happen to touch a block that says goal, then you fail the bonus and have to try again later. There are also rings here for extra lives and continues, and an R bubble that changes the way the level spins. This is hard because the whole thing feels wonky. The controls are incredibly bad in this section. The jump action is delayed and you feel so heavy compared to the rest of the game. It is also confusing and frustrating because the world is spinning and making a wrong jump can often make you fail. Then the Chaos Emerald is protected by these crystals that have to be touched a certain number of times in order for them to disappear. This is vomit inducing, which is only made worse by this horrible music played here. I hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. Now, after all that, my honest opinion on the original Sonic the Hedgehog is kinda worth it? This is hard for me because this game is fun and it was groundbreaking for the time, but it is a lot slower and those bonus levels really ruin this experience for me, though it's still a solid game. My main reason for confliction is the fact that Sonic 2 is a much better game. It has better gameplay, it has better levels, it has more memorable music, it has a 2-player co-op mode, it has a better secret ending. Even the levels themselves are better designed so you can run faster and you can do a lot more like in the first level of Sonic 1. That game I would recommend any day of the week, which makes it harder for me to say if this game is worth it. I think this game is fine and you should definitely check it out if you want to see where the Blue Blur started his life and career before it turned into an absolute mess. And guys, don't forget to cycle subscribe, write any comments down below. Did the bonus levels make you throw up? Or maybe I'm just nostalgic because Sonic 2's bonus levels are so much fun and Sonic 3's bonus levels are pretty unique as well, even though they're a little bit vomit inducing. But that's just me. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!